Raptor, because Raptor has been one of the big weak points.
That's a Jurassic Park reference, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would have gone with Sam Neill.
Well, those movies are actually good, and I think the meme of
and also, he was a Raptor Wrangler, wasn't he?
so like the meme of Chris Pratt, like putting his hands on him, being like,
yeah.
"Oh, slow down, Raptor." That's basically what Brian are looking to do right now, because I think he has struggled the most. We're already seeing immediately struggled. No, it's, you know the image.
Yeah, I've just got Young Jay in my mind now, just walking up to like the edge of the forest. Yeah, oh my God, it's perfect. It's beautiful.
And please, no Nidalee. That's all I ask for neither of these teams. It should be on the radar. Just pick strong front-to-back comps, get engaged supports. You know, if Duro wants to pull out something like Blitzcrank, something he was known for in case of that, they end up playing against a matchup where that's fine. But don't overcomplicate things, as they will respect the Lord and his Renekton.
Yep, Croc. And it's going to be Scorpion locked in here for Morgan. An understandable first pick. Doesn't really make you all that enthusiastic about how this is going to go. I feel like Skarner is completely overtuned, as we know. But if we see Skarner versus Cassante, we don't necessarily have strong feelings about who's going to win the game. And that is looking like what we're going to get towards the top side. Ashe has snuck through, though. And every AD carry is up and available. So Henna is considering playing the Icy Archer. And he will be locking her in. And now, where do they go from here? I think the sad thing is that Ashe does open up the Nidalee doors a little bit more, but it is not going to be the case, thankfully.
Might be a Sejuani lock in here if they don't take it away, where you go for the S-Sejuani combo. Ashe is also one of the few champions that I do think has the DPS to actually chew through Skarner. One of the reasons why I think we've seen the Ashe just... she's still banned a whole lot, and teams feel fine about it because they get to pick the Ezreal. Ezreal, I think, on this patch is absolutely nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually really interested to see how this lane 2v2 is going to go. There is obviously a chance that it's going to be Duro playing Ashe. We don't really know that, but the double AD carry bot lanes have really dropped in prevalence, in level of priority, because of a lot of factors. Large part is that now you have a mid lane AD carry, generally, or an AD character. And even with Tristana and Corki banned, we see Lucian, we see Yone. A lot of those, and it's closer, so... you know he can pull those out. So that means that if you don't have an engage support, that makes it a lot weaker. And AP junglers are really, really strong as well. So you're not going to get a tank from that angle. I don't think that that's what BNK is going to do. I think this is just an Ashe AD carry. As Xin Zhao gets locked in. Do you think Xin Zhao can be a little bit tricky to pilot into the Taliyah? We also don't really know where the Taliyah is going yet. We'll have to see. I imagine that an Ahri ban is sure to come through. I think Xin Ahri is really... I don't think Ahri necessarily is in the best of spots, but if you combine her with Xin Zhao and into Taliyah, we've seen that matchup really work, and it is a closer-style champion as well.
I would agree. I actually think that Closer does open up some different doors because he is a pretty eclectic mid laner that does just like very different stuff. Leona, though, is going to be banned away from Polu, just making sure that Duro gets the right matchup. Not really giving us too much as far as information about what's going to be picked. We'll just have to see what does happen. I love what Bro has done, though, with their first 3 picks. I think outside of, you know, what's going to happen here in the bans, I actually think this is an extraordinarily strong 1-2-3 with the flexibility of the Taliyah. And so looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to augment it with. Difficult without having Vi available, things like that. We saw KT pick up the Exodia comp yesterday. Was that the most disgusting draft that we've ever seen ever in the history of the LCK this year? I kind of thought
it was high up there.
It was pretty gross. So not allowing that to happen, feeling like things are a little bit more even this time around, as Yone is going to be banned away. I wonder whether that gives away any information, as a Yone ban really is sort of standing out in my mind. Probably just trying to deny as many AD options as possible and keeping that Taliyah in the mid lane.
And there is the Ahri ban that we talked about. The LeBlanc also gets taken away. Does a very similar job with the Xin Zhao for that mid jungle 2v2. That's something I still expect BNK to play towards. Might be an angle here for a counter pick on support. The downside is that you don't necessarily know whether this is going to be the Taliyah mid. The Azir comes out for Closer. That is the one pick that he often goes to when it isn't a melee character, so not too surprising there. Really shining as a, you know, I don't want to say discount, but slightly less effective version of Zeka in how we approach his drafts.
Yep.
Odalist, not necessarily the greatest combination with Ezreal specifically, but all-around support that goes into basically anything. Does lose some impact with Xin and the K'Sante specifically. K'Sante can easily tank the hooks. I think Xin is really good at, even if he gets engaged, to kind of break up the fights. We'll see what the closeout is going to be here for Karis.
All right, that would be definitely reaching into, you know, the back half of what we were expecting from, you know, AD options in the mid lane. Hui, another consideration, double AP jungle 2v2 isn't exactly the most exciting. And speaking of not necessarily the most exciting, Duro subbing in and then playing Execute's champion is kind of weird, but he's still going to do so.
Yeah.
The metal pants going to be taken out of the closet.
So, because at this point you have two options. You can either go Alistair or you can go for the Rel. And I think Rel provides much better team fight engage. Alistair obviously has good individual engage, but outside of that, I think his peel and his the amount of versatility he has is one of the strongest parts about the champion. But if you look at what OK Mambro have drafted, you need to get on top of them. And yes, that'll be hard. It's Ezreal, it's Hui, it's Taliyah, and Skarner, so these champions are kind of hard to play on. But if you just sit and you take poke from Hui, Taliyah, and Ezreal, it's not going to look good, right? The BNK has a very aggressive style of composition, wants to play very far forward, and I think the Rel really makes a ton of sense in that. And I gotta say, I think both teams have drafts that they can be happy with. I think they're fairly well-rounded. Okay, Mambro will have the range advantage, but we've seen them sometimes struggle with using range effectively because it requires you to do stuff. And then for BNK, this comp, if you are cohesive, works well, but they haven't exactly been cohesive.
This is the thing. I think we are sort of playing into where these two teams need to put the most emphasis, right? And I think that, you know, FearX, if they do manage to get on the same page, this is exactly the composition that can make things happen. One thing I do want to say, though, is that OK Savings Bank Brionne have a composition where if they can't really decide what to do, it is kind of okay just to stand in neutral and throw stuff. So that gives them a little bit of an extra avenue for victory, you know? In that state of not necessarily knowing what to do, they can possibly still win. Let's dive onto the Rift for game one. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're onto the Rift for game number one. A pivotal matchup between both Bro and BNK FearX. And I want to admit something here. I'm Bro biased in this game.
Yeah.
Mainly because of my predictions. And I was the only one out of all of us that did our predictions for the POG state. It's the only one that put Bro in second. And this is all going to be culminating into next week's match, the ultimate matchup in the LCK, Nongshim versus Bro.
In seconds from the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, it's basically second.
They're not 10th.
No, they're not.
They're 9th.
But it's first out of the bottom two.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I gave them.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
And chat, you're here, so I can say this to you guys. If we're honest, everyone can watch T1 Gen G. You know, like obviously it's Chovy, it's Faker, it kind of costs. Telecom War in a stadium, of course you're watching that, but only real ones are here right now watching Bro BNK. And Bro Nongshim, that's the deep cut, Atlas. That's the hipsters of the LCK. They can say, I was there when some of the greatest League of Legends of our time was played.
Oh, no, I think it's where the greatest League of Legends of all time sat to the wayside while we enjoyed Nongshim versus Bro. I think that's sort of how it works, because it's not mainstream League of Legends that we're enjoying.
It's an art house film.
It's nuanced League of Legends that we're experiencing.
I don't know if it's nuanced. It's definitely something.
I don't know. It gets the people going, whatever it is. It's absolutely fantastic. 11-6, Skarner winning out in this matchup. We do have a lot of tape for it. 11-6, it's actually kind of nuts that, you know, Skarner has only been remade for, you know, only this season.
We're in week
3, end of week 3, right? Yep, that's we've had that matchup too much.
This is just a Udyr Hecarim all over again.
I think it's feeling like that. It's you know, it's Mundo.
That was jungle, but
Mundo Shyvana. Let's just go with that one.
Yeah.
If anyone can remember back to Season 2.
I don't think they can.
Probably not. That did happen, though, guys, and it was terrible. So just a reminder. I was an analyst at that stage. Did you know that?
The Atlantist?
The Atlantist. It was, well, actually, I was the... I was told that I had to change my name because it was inappropriate. So I don't want to say it, but I had to change my name.
Is it the name you still have on...
Yes,
yeah,
everywhere else.
Sense.
Yeah.
I think Atlas was a good choice.
I think it was fine. But there's a hook. That's going to connect here as Polo is just going to collect the Rel. And unfortunately for Duro, it is not the kind of debut first blood that he was aiming for.
Welcome to the LCK, Duro.
Yeah.
Gets found. It's yet another showcase of why the Taliyah prio has been so high, particularly for the teams that are towards the bottom that are struggling a little bit. And Polo's had a lot of moments that left me scratching my head, but I also want to applaud him just a little bit. In the Dutch, there's an expression where if you try and, you know, build someone up, you say you break a lance for them, which I think is a really cool expression.
I do like that one as well, as Duro's going to immediately make up for this situation. He's burning Karis down. Close is going to be able to lock that one up. And so as you were saying, as Duro comes back and just immediately answers that first blood.
Damn, I was trying to big up Polo, because I think that he's had some rough moments, but he also is the one that gets stuff going on Brion, and that can make you look silly at times, because Brion is a team that's struggling. And Duro gets first blooded, just walks it off, literally walks back to mid lane.
Canters it off.
And finds a kill for the Azir, which is very nicely done. And here, I'm not 100% sure if they knew on what side of the jungle Youngjae was. I imagine he feels safe because he has his jungler relatively nearby, but obviously, bit of disrespect. And here, just very nicely done. Gets the Q flash into guarantee W, and it's an early kill for Closer, helping him out. And Duro also, I imagine, didn't give really anything up, given that Envy and Polo were on the back.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Polo had just sort of done a drive-by over the mid lane. Speaking of which, he's back once again, clearing out vision where he can find it. Does put Henna just by himself on the bottom side of the map. As Youngjae poking his head in. Bro being very proactive today.
They are.
Have you noticed? They've been all over the place. Polo getting amongst it, dredge line and walls, left, right, and center. Getting them around there, so I'm hoping that they can keep this up. Oftentimes, and this dates back to the Umpty days.
Yep.
It's like the first 7 minutes, and Bro, they've had it drilled into them. They know exactly where to be, what to do, where to rotate.
Kills,
and then 8 minutes.
Objectives.
Oh yeah, 8 minutes stall. It's just, you know, the gearbox has fallen out of the bottom of the car. As Duro is going to take a bit of damage there, but otherwise will be okay. Youngjae in the area, but no more bad guys left. So we'll just see whether the car is going to stall or not, because I know it's a bad thing. Okay, we're not stalling on the side of BNK. They do manage to get the knock-up onto Polu, but Duro is just dead once again. This Taliyah is being very pesky as, oh my goodness, just needs a slightly longer anchor. A couple of extra chains there for Polu. Still, I mean, this game feels like Battle of the Supports. It was already going to be in a narrative way, but the way that it's playing out so far, I mean, with Youngjae there, of course, as well. But this feels like Polu versus Duro.
Polu a bit quick on the trigger there, or Duro rather quick on the trigger, because if Rapture is there, that might be enough. Also want to give credit to Youngjae, Joe. I think that he has been so insanely pivotal thus far in the early game, because I'm pretty sure that they were unaware that at the very least he was still there, which means that, you know, going in on that, if that's a 2v3 is obviously not going to be the end, or a 3v2 rather, is not going to be the end of the world, but with Youngjae there, just gets the scoop again, and Duro also only engaging specifically on Polu, as opposed to finding multiple people, means that the Rel not as tanky as she could otherwise be, so just gets blown up by the Taliyah.
Karis just wandering at Closer here, finds himself cute, and probably going to turn up and help him clear out that wave. BNK with a fair bit of control here towards the top side, starting up the grubs is Raptor, who has had, as you mentioned before, relatively quiet early game thus far. Hasn't really found too many angles, as Youngjae has just been hoovering up his jungle very, very quickly and has been able to get some time to assist the rest of his lanes.
One of the other questions that I had coming into this is that Ezreal on the previous patch was mostly a counter pick, and he was still quite strong, right? We saw Pays already pop off on him, but it wasn't necessarily the highest of prios because his laning phase could still be considered weak. After the buffs, I think he's actually a lane bully. It is like 100% not okay because Ezreal, yes, he can be bursty, which is why the Ezreal Leona has been such a classic for such a long time. But right now, it feels like he is just winning lanes straight up, right from the get. Like, we've seen Ezreal Alistar win lane.
Which is it's absolutely insane to me because I'm used to that being the weakest lane you can possibly pick.
Yeah, and in this case, obviously, Henna's had to give up some CS because Doro has died twice. So I don't think that this is entirely due to the matchup. Do want to highlight that. But it does fit into the larger trend of, I think the Ezreal priority is just going to keep rising throughout this patch as people more and more realize that he legitimately just wins most lanes now, which is one of the things that, like Ezreal, Karma, obviously, you know, they would have a lot of shove, a lot of poke. But it feels like he's kind of gone beyond that with the buffs that he's gotten on this patch, particularly if you just hit your Qs, which most of our AD carries have gone pretty good at.
Yeah, I think hitting your Ws as well has started to become pretty important as well. The amount of just Essence Flux and then Arcane Shift randomly in their direction somewhat, and then they take half of their health bar. That seems a bit silly. As okay, Duro going to go aggressive. Envy offering a fair bit of damage back as Youngjae making his way in, and Duro realizing it's not great, but still, Raptors here this time, finds the wind, becomes lightning, and that is going to be the Crescent Guard to keep him safe. There's the flash out as Raptor goes down extremely low. Envy's flashing forward, looks for the Mystic Shot, but it's going to be blocked there by the heroes on the side of BNK. And so, not going to find too much more off the back end, but pretty even fight.
It's a win in the short term here for BNK, but as long as Hannah can get this wave, I think it's worth. And it looks like really nicely done by Closer here, actually. He immediately walked back to lane as soon as it was obvious that the play wasn't happening.
Whoa!
Let's get
That's
hooked.
A max range hook there as Closer says, nope, get out of here. He's going to be swept back underneath his turret. There's the flash to come out, though, as Morgan's driving his way in. Doesn't find the rock, and Closer's able to get out, but doesn't have an ult and doesn't have a flash.
And now it actually ends up, I think, being a really nice play, because what happened was they have the bot side 3v3, which they end up winning. They do invest an extra summoner, but I think that's fine. Duro crucially hit 6 as well, so that he doesn't end up going down to the Ignite. And then watch the movement of Closer here. As we take a look at this 3v3, this time around, Youngjae isn't actually there to just immediately blow up Duro. Henna has his ult, and even though Raptor dashes through some of the rocks, he's able to still make an impact. Doesn't end up going down. Nice sidestep there by Duro. I think he might have otherwise gone down. But because Closer immediately walked back, there wasn't really an opportunity for Kars to stick around near that bot wave, which he really wanted to deny because Henna was so low and everyone wanted to back. So BNK still get the wave, or most of it, for Henna. And Closer, although he did have to flash thanks to a nice roam from Morgan, was able to get the shove in and deny any further pressure towards that bot side, which BNK, as long as they remain within touching distance, I think these type of drops can really pop off when they get to the teamfight stage, as long as they find those engages. And that has been a bit of hit or miss, and a lot of that pressure, again, is going to be on Duro specifically.
Yep. And he's been going for it. That's the main thing, right? We said proactivity and being on the same page. And even if you lose those fights, if you are on the same page, that is the main thing. See whether they can continue to find some success here in this game as, you know, Raptor is getting, you know, he's got his first item. He's feeling a lot better on this Xin Zhao. We know that can really, really benefit them in these mid-game fights. Xin sort of deceptively tanky in those moments. So it's going to be up to Raptor to try and answer this pressure that Youngjae has had available to him. He's going to go back home, speaking of which, as Duro's ward there in the brush is going to make sure that they have full information. And Karis just clearing out wave after wave, very even in the mid lane. Nothing really to report on outside of the fact that there is 50% less on the flash cooldown. 4 grubs over to BNK though. Bro just not interested in grubs. It's just not oh, unless Youngjae wants to be able to find one here as Morgan picks up a rock, throws it over. There's the Impale to connect onto Raptor, who's going to get slammed into the wall. Karis comes on over. That is so much damage. Morgan's almost able to get something done, but Youngjae gets himself out of there, and that is a kill going over to Polu as well. They'll take 1 grub for their trouble and 2 kills on top of it.
Oh, BNK. I'm pretty sure they saw Polu walk over just sack Raptor and let Clear get out. There wasn't really any necessity, as actually no they didn't, because there was no wave. Instead, Closer was heading towards the bottom half of the map, so like Clear and Raptor trying to contest is just not allowed. You already hit the grub point. Like even 4 is great.
Yeah.
You already have your little Void Knights that are going to be spawned. And I gotta give credit, again, Paulo and Youngjae are so much better synced up and in the right place at the right time together. And that's the reason why so many of these early skirmishes have been going the way of the bros.
It's looking real good thus far, as Henna even able to catch this wave here towards the bottom side. Envy continuing to just shove wave after wave down there. It is about 12 CS the lead for the Ezreal right now, as he's catching these waves as soon as they come towards him. Bro, they want to grab themselves Drake #2. And a composition like this that has tempo on the map as well, it can't be understated just how powerful that is, right? If you have the poke advantage, the range advantage, and you also have objective advantage, it is absolutely massive. Youngjae going to be able to at least start this one off. Let's see whether Raptor can get in here. He is making his way down, as we can see. Duro from over the wall. And Bro, I don't think they want to bite off more than they can chew, but I feel like they can chew this. They're quite far ahead.
They do.
They are going to let Raptor leash it. And can Bro find themselves a team fight? That's the question, is Envy not exactly in the area, and that is just the steal away. That is going to be Arrow connecting, and Youngjae is stunned for a very long time. Raptor comes over and executes him, but turret does actually fall elsewhere on the map. Bottom lane outer does go down, as now Morgan's just trying to be that brick wall. He just drives his way out. And Clear not going to be able to catch anybody else. So they sacrifice Youngjae, they get themselves 2 dragons, and they also grab first brick. I think it's still probably an advantage for Bro.
Oh, it's so worth. Absolutely. Especially because Clear also invested his TP, as did Morgan, yeah, but if Clear doesn't TP and instead he's able to push in the turret, maybe get some damage, that could have been big. Instead, yeah, Youngjae ends up going down, but it doesn't matter, especially with Infernal. This is insanely good to have these early 2 Drakes. As we see, Youngjae's just allowed to walk up here, and then really nice arrow from Hannah, which sets up the engage from Duro. One of the big issues here is that with Duro going in there and using his cooldowns, they don't actually have great tools to try and lock. I think maybe that was an angle for Closer to try and go for a big play. Would like a dive on Karas here.
Yeah, see what they can get done here. Good Fear is going to connect onto Closer. He looks for the Emperor's Divide, but I don't even think he really needs it, as Raptor tanks up the turret just long enough. And they were able to take down the Hui. So nice little shot back here for B&K on the bottom side. See whether they can get any more meaningful damage, as Polo and Envy going aggressive towards Henna and Duro in the mid lane. The Rift Herald does go down in favor of Youngjae.
Shiv now done here for Henna. Kind of wonder what kind of build he's going for. We've seen a lot of different styles on the Ashe. Really is one of those champions where you can build a whole slew of different things. You can go more on hit. Yep. Go for kind of a Triforce style. See what he ends up going. As Raptor is in top now.
Yeah, Morgan is trying to run away. Wind becomes lightning. Morgan just looking for that wall. And speaking of walls, the Talia is going to give one. That is going to be the all-out, as Morgan not going to get thrown back because that's his teammate's seismic shove. It doesn't matter, though. Youngjae just not able to save him. Magnustorm connects onto 2 here as Closer. He's making his way up the mid lane, interrupted there by Polo, but Envy, he's still going to go down, and I think Polo's immediately going to follow. B&K finding multiple things all over this map and completely evening out the game.
And outside of Clear, his zoning flash there, making sure that Youngjae wasn't anywhere near. That is success and success and success for B&K. They get Morgan in top, after they get the dive on Kara's bot, and then just to round it out, they get the kills in mid as well, as we take a look at what happens here. So this is a fairly straightforward gank, right? Raptor sets up the bot dive, walks top, makes it happen here. Crucially, Youngjae can't actually get in with that wall, because if he goes in, he's just going to die, and then Clear has a tragic flash into dash on top of rocks. But the fact that Polo and Envy are this deep up without them having properly swept the area behind them ends up backfiring immensely. Really good teleport from Closer. And they do actually have the engage. Duro there catching them off guard a little bit. And now all of a sudden, game's dead even. Yes, still 2 Drakes for Breon, but that is not the gold graph that you want to see.
Absolutely not, unless you're here for the entertainment, unless you're here for the anticipation, you know, and what this has done is it's increased the anticipation levels extraordinarily highly because it is now only 200 gold, the difference between these two teams. We have no idea who is going to win. The tension could not be higher.
Atlas, and everyone that's watching, strap in, okay? This series is going to be twist and turn. There is no way this is a 2-0, by the way.
Oh, no.
Absolutely none. Are we going to get 4 Infernal Drakes? Are we going to get Elder Flips? Are we going to get macro trades that might not make sense if you look at them? And then you study them more, and then you're like, no, they definitely don't make it. Yes, I'm going to get all of that.
I think there should be 5 Infernal Drakes taken this game.
Yeah, the max amount?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it needs to, needs to happen.
What's the order going to be? Is it like 2 for BNK, 1 Breon, 2 for BNK?
I think that's the optimal setup.
Right.
Yeah, because like what happens is Bro's like, we can give this because we've already got 2 Drakes and then only
they give
one, it's fine. They're like, oh, it's only 2, it's fine. They're like, Soul Point? Maybe not. You know, they set up for that one. They lose the Baron off the back end. Manage to defend.
Get the Drake, but then lose the Nash.
Yeah. And then they're in like full defense mode, but they've got a long-range poke style composition, so they clear waves over and over again.
And then it's Elder Flip.
And then it's Elder Flip. Well, I mean, it's Soul Flip at that point.
And then they lose Soul Flip?
And then they lose Soul Flip, so it's even Drakes. And then we potter around for a little bit. There might be another Baron that happens somewhere, doesn't win the game. And then we are, you know, Soul territory. There's a big fight for that one, not conclusive. And now the arrow is going to hit onto Polo. And it's going to be a fling back onto Duro. Doesn't really do too much as Morgan makes his way in. Envy trying to find it here as they look for Karis. He does get the shield, and now Duro is down exceptionally low, but it does not matter. Raptor's able to get in there. CC's up the Ezreal, and now Karis is behind enemy lines. And they've just given up wondering about it. They're just going to let him go. And now it is going to be BNK Fearex taking the Drake. And as we know, Bro's response is, it's just one. It's fine.
All according to plan. The fact that they let Karis walk it up is quite funny. I was wondering whether they wanted to go for maybe a TP play into the jungle to try and catch him. Not going to be the case. Really big way. Can't believe that all starts again with Henna's arrow. Because what happens is Polo tries to go for the play, but then he gets arrowed. And also, you know, engaging on the Xin Zhao is always a bit of a dicey situation, but he doesn't hit the hook. Then, as Nautilus, if you don't hit your hook and you're stunned, you're just immediately dead. And Morgan finds an angle, or so he thinks, and then, like, Duro just flashes out, and then he impales, of all people, the Xin Zhao. Well, there's no follow-up, so it doesn't really end up working out. I do think that Hannah could have definitely just like flash and killed Karis, but maybe didn't want to. Oh, I also think
him and Karis were buddies.
Flash, yeah, I guess, but Flash is very valuable on the Ashe, so I get why he would keep that. So giving up that kill, or not taking that kill rather, is a bit unfortunate. But outside of that, this is what I was worried about for Breon, is that the team fighting on BNK looks to be miles ahead of where it was.
Yeah, I think the Duro addition, even though he dies for First Blood, you know, was definitely doing some fast and loose things in the early stages of the game. Feels like it is a BNK that looks reinvigorated, especially with those 3 plates. Every single lane finding success when their backs are against the wall. That's very impressive stuff here. And now they are well and truly ahead. That's about 1,000 gold. Yeah,
it's not even fed.
Big time balance.
Obviously, he's sitting at 2 items, like it's a big spike, but man.
Yep. Just the Ezreal things. And Envy has looked okay on it. I think that his target selection in these team fights hasn't necessarily been the greatest, but certainly with the amount of pressure that he's put down in these lanes, it's looked pretty dang good. As Closer here towards the top side, going to try and shove this wave towards Karis once again. He's had a bit of a quiet one. I think he's found a few options. Looking forward to seeing Bro just trying to keep BNK at arm's length. I think that is the important thing that they need to do. Spend a little bit more time landing some poke and some less time being magnetly stormed.
And Paulo, I liked the vibes early on, you know, in his roaming around, but now you can actually chill. You don't need to hook the first person you see because you actually win out if you're just poking.
Yeah.
If you're just firing off with Ezreal, and with Wei in particular, because Wei's strength really comes from just getting off rotation after rotation. There's not a lot of counterplay for the enemy team besides, you know, trying to dodge as much as you can, but eventually stuff is going to connect. But your biggest weakness is if they actually get on top of you, and for Brion, that's the main thing they need to avoid is, oh boy, I don't know if they're going to be able to here.
Yeah, looking for the dive, as that's a phenomenal arrow once again from Hannah. Karis going to be the first one to go down. Duro is taking a fair bit of damage, but otherwise he is going to be absolutely fine. Empress Divide lands onto 2. True Shot Barrage will be able to take down Duro, but he does not care. He's done his job, and that is going to be a double for Closer, and BNK can just do no wrong.
That is going to be the Nash surely here, Atlas. We still have both damage dealers alive. Both Closer and Hannah are here, so even though we're relatively early in, they have clear to tank it as well. This is gonna be gone.
Yep. And I think this is slightly off script. I think that they're a little bit ahead of time as far as this Baron is concerned. 23.5 minutes isn't the earliest, but it's definitely early for a Bro series. That's all I'm going to say. As once again, I mean, the arrows from Hannah have just been extraordinary.
They really have. I really like what they do here. So the arrow gets thrown. There's no counterplay for Karis possible. And then on the other end, you have Duro doing, I think, a really good job of making sure that the rest of the team is CC'd and they're not able to aid at all. So the turret ends up going down. One of the biggest damage dealers already gone. And now you have Baron. You're setting up very nicely for that second dragon that we did suspect. But for Brion, if you do lose full control of the game, it becomes really, really hard to play out. Because, as we have always said about BNK, and I think that now we're starting to really see that come to fruition again, they go in. And, well, that might be a bad call, it might be a bad angle, but they will not give you the time. And if you are behind, the amount of bad angles that are there are just less and less. And we see Claire is off pushing by himself and doesn't have TP. So I do think that BK need to be a little bit respectful, but they are hanging back. And who am I kidding? They will probably just engage on the 4v5 and be like, it's fine.
100%. Arrow is going to hit once again onto the way. Clear's rotated over. As the rocks come down, that should be able to block some things. As Raptor's the only one to get hit by the True Shot Barrage. Envy not quite finding too much here as Closer throwing the soldiers forward. And you can see Envy just trying to land this poke, but honestly, BNK don't really seem too worried about it. A lot of it is really landing, so that is going to be Drake number 2 going over to BNK. They'll be able to collect that, and they are well on their way, evening out the Drake count, and Infernal's certainly no slouch when it comes to the value. Close is going to come down. I think he should be able to take this inner as well, and only further extending that gold advantage that they've built up for themselves.
Really optimal use of Nash, you know, just power up the wave so that you have prio in mid so that you can just run towards the dragon. His peak. They get the bot side turret as well, and this is obviously still a really good Red Bull Baron power play here for BNK, sitting at the promised 2 Infernal Drakes. And that is a problem. The fact that they've been stacking these, because already, as Hannah does take a colossal chunk, it's like, why wasn't it Ocean, guys? Why wasn't it Mountain? That would have been fine. It would have been nice for all this poke. But the amount of damage that they're going to be doing is going to be absolutely ludicrous.
And there also hasn't been that much of the poke landing, so I guess it's kind of okay. Just means that after Duro just goes in, it is going to mean that the Bros will just kind of melt the hands of BNK. Unless they change up this style as much as possible, as quickly as possible, because they really do need to either be able to take control of the battlefield and allow Envy and Karis to land this poke, or have answers. They don't really seem to be able to figure much of it out. As Closer taking a fair bit of damage there, as Karis does manage to catch him in the maw, but otherwise he is still pretty freely pushing. And the map control that BNK has is just kind of ridiculous. The Baron has worn off, 2.5 minutes until that one's back up again as Closer. Not going to get hit by the rock, and Wind Becomes Lightning will connect onto Morgan, has to run through the wall to get himself out of there. And just feeling a little bit like this game is exactly where BNK wants it to be, and they'll just wait out these timers, grab the next neutral, and start breaking open the base. Bro got to do something, man. Well,
they won't. That's the Bro guarantee. They're going to be waiting for their angle. I don't know if they're going to find it. It's a bit tough. The one good thing is, as long as they don't actually give over Nash, they basically have like 8 more minutes to get it, you know, get their item spikes, set up waves, because they have really good ranged wave clear.
Oh yeah.
So they got that going for them, which is nice. But outside of that, even 3 Infernal Drakes, just full stop, is already a lot of power being given over to your opponents. And if Baron ever does, as you're saying, like if they take Baron, then from that point on, it does kind of become a nightmare. They do have 2 people who can face check. Obviously, Morgan going to be feeling the best as Paulo. He's trying to just get just a little bit of vision. Just a bit. Just
Shattering
a tiny
Strike
bit.
getting a buffered. Arrow this time is going to miss. Thank goodness. Henna is not perfect at it. As, oh my goodness, these Conquering Sands really starting to hurt. As Closer does so much work towards Karis. Does eat the ulti. That is another cooldown that he has eaten for the bros. Still, Karis keeping himself alive and getting rid of these minions one after the other with his budget equalizers. So should be all right. Okay, teleport back. There it is. I knew it. I knew Closer was going to do it. He had 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. Obviously, that Forbidden Book was going to be purchased.
He is a Magus guy in spirit.
Oh, 100%.
Closer is. Yeah, maybe the most out of anyone. Zeka, I think, has the same type of killer instinct. But for as good as, you know, Chovy, BDD, Faker, Showmaker are, I feel like Closer, he could have 2 stacks and he'd be like, bet.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make it happen.
That's I feel like it's the old Showmaker vibes that he used to have back in the day when he was a younger man.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. You know, if you had the Dark Seal, then why aren't you turning it into a Magi's? That's how it goes.
It's one of those things where, you know, if you're behind, then you need a gambit to get back. So just build it.
It was like when the very first time I played League of Legends, I read a guide on Mobifier.
As you do.
Katarina, because she seemed like a cool character when I first installed the game. And that guide said, buy Magi's. And so I would do that every game and wonder why I kept losing. Because it's not so good if you're not really far ahead. And B&K, are they far enough ahead? That's the question. Closer goes golden. Emperor's Divide comes down. He keeps himself alive. The more is going to come through, but Karis had to flash for it. And I think even though they took down the Azir, they got rid of a few of those pages. That book's going to be forgotten because B&K is still going to get the Baron.
Oh, Brion. Well, Closer might not become a rider, but it doesn't matter. Baron's still going over.
He's a tortured artist, okay? It may not necessarily get published, but it doesn't mean it wasn't a work of art.
He's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm selling it. I'm going into fashion. Got himself a nice hat.
There you go.
And the big thing is that, yes, they're able to kill him, but it does actually take a large amount of time thanks to the stopwatch. The ultimate also doesn't hit from Envy, which means that Karis
has to flash in.
Well, there was a blast going. I don't think he had to flash in. And also letting the Azir live, and then just trying to get all your damage down on the fight that's happening right in front of you. Could have been the angle, but it wasn't meant to be. There is the soul point for B&K.
But now the script dictates, Chronicler, the script dictates that Bro gets the next dragon.
They have to.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, are they going to make me a liar? Is that how it's going to go?
Well, Atlas, sometimes we take a gamble and it doesn't work out. That's life.
It's never happened to me, though, Chronicler. Whenever I gamble, it always works
Atlas,
out.
You play gacha games. We both know that you don't. That there's a whole lot of times where you don't win.
Yeah, well,
I guess in the end, you.
I also still
win.
have my hair,
yeah.
at least at this point. So I have a track record of not necessarily gambling effectively.
Oh, yeah, remember that one.
Yeah, not so great. But hopefully, Bro just turn it around. You know, they don't need to win the game. That's fine. Just get the next streak. That's all I want.
I don't think
as Arrow going to pierce. Ooh, Karis didn't even have to adjust where he was moving. And he's going to be okay. As this inner turret, not long for the world. We mentioned the fact that Baron is very, very strong. Closer is also split pushing here on the bottom side. And the inner turrets have all been wiped out.
Atlas
put up as well, yes.
Hear me out. I know this is a very premature discussion as this game is going to go on for 50 more minutes somehow.
Yeah. 25.
Who would you be looking for POG? I'm actually leaning Henna. I feel like those arrows.
I mean, I think that there's going to be like a right media Duro vote. I think the left media vote is Henna 100%. That's the based vote, but then Closer wins.
Oh, yeah. I think Raptor also had a great game.
Bit too invisible in the early game, I think, to get.
Yeah, he did really get outpaced. I would agree with you there. I think Duro had a good.
Whoa! There's a flash forward. That is a wall down as well as Youngjae. He believed in his support, and you have to respect that. And bro, they're all in on killing Closer like they were before. They're going to ignore the fact that the rest of their base is being utterly obliterated. And, well, eventually they'll move back and realize that it's pretty much gone.
Maybe we don't have time for the conversation. I don't think Duro's I don't think that's a right media. I wouldn't go that far. His team fighting has actually been
No, I just have a feeling
really
that right
good.
media is going to go there. I'm not saying it's a right media is bad.
Well,
I just
okay,
think
but
that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah, but right media as a vibe is not where you want to be in life, right? This might be it.
Another one. Karis has tanked so many of these. Is all right. Here's the Hail Mary. It's being wound up. Morgan, can you get it done? Polu is already dead. The seismic shove is going to get Zhonya's. And now Raptors dove in, the all-out from Clear. He's going to get to work on these turrets as Closer just shifts the sands, gets himself all the way out of there, and Morgan is saved for last. Young Jay is on the fountain. They'll spare him, but they will spare no one else as B&K will take down Bro in game 1. And I'm sorry about what I said about the Dragons, because I thought it was going to go longer.
So did I, Atlas. So did I, but it doesn't look like that. How this one is going to go. B&K, the early game definitely rough. Duro having some warm-up jitters. We'll call it. We'll be generous to him. But once the team fights came around, I think he came into his own. But I agree with that. That 1-2 of Henna and Closer in particular.
Yeah.
Henna with his objectives around the map, never being
Look at Sword, he's like,
difficult.
so this is where it all went wrong, and he indicates the bottom lane, the mid lane, and the top lane in that those successive plays that B&K managed to execute on, and that was where the game was done. At least it's an easy VOD review.
It's the easiest highlight one of your life.
Oh,
the
yeah.
back to back to back.
Yeah, the good old back to back to back, we're back. That's basically how it was from B&K. So, bro, it was pretty close. The early game was great.
It was
well-oiled
good.
machine. Gorgeous. They punished the new guy. You
No
love
notes.
to see it. Yeah, no notes at all. It all just, we've got notes from, about the 10-minute mark onwards, and you can see it here. Well, more like the 16-minute mark. It all kind of went wrong. We'll see whether they can fix it. We're going to go to a short break. When we get back, the Space is going to break that one down as best they can, and we'll have game number 2.
네, 플리스터 하고 천천히 죽여, 천천히.
나 중앙 볼게 이거.
야, 이제 천천히 해도 돼. 이제 천천히 해봐. 이제 천천히 하자, 얘들아. 괜찮아.
일단 한 번은 유지해보자.
얘네 무조건 박아야 돼.
살짝만.
여기 살짝 맞고.
빨리
방어 한 대만 치자. 치자. 안 박을게. 우리가 안 박을게, 이거. 여기까지. 야, 노틸. 스카. 야, 나 후회볼게. 스카. 이거 봐줘.
스카 맞아, 스카 하나.
이거 이제 노비전. 이거 봐줘.
피가 안 다냐.
아, 미안하다. 나 괜찮아. 잘. 정신 못 차렸네.
This is Bro's final form. Let's just say that.
Well, it might be the final form in this series,
Yeah.
which is not where you want to be, but that might be what we're looking towards. It is really big, though, for me that Raptor had a really solid game because I think he's been one of the weaker players. I also, to give a little bit of leeway to him, right now the jungle meta is extremely punishing because you're not playing against Canyon and Owner and Cousin Peanut in like a Maokai versus Sidra.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing a very fragile character into Canyon's Nidalee. You know, it's a bad time, I think, to be a rookie jungler, and we are seeing as well that again he's getting focused here by Breon pretty aggressively.
And so of course, Breon were on the blue side. They chose that for game number 1, and so they are going to elect to go back there once again. We could see a salty run back, and I don't know whether I'd be like super upset about it. I didn't mind the draft outside of the Hui. I think as long as the Hui is changed and Karras is on something that he can do more stuff on, then that could be a better option. Because I think that he has definitely been a weak link here for Bro. I think that they have looked better with Pulbe, even if he is a little bit of a crazy guy in that mid lane. They need a bit of crazy, to be perfectly honest. And the sit back and lose guy is not really what's going to get you over the line. And I hope that wasn't too mean. Kind of sounded more mean than I intended it to be after it came out of my mouth. But I think you guys understand what I was saying. Skarner once again going to be the first pick.
Unbound generosity can backfire, Atlas, and I think that's where Breon is at right now. In their generosity, you know, giving over, as they do, giving over objectives, giving over nexuses.
Or Nexi.
Yeah, I actually was going to bring that up with you. There needs to be a limit. You know, Breon deserves a win too, and hopefully for them, this is the series where they're able to make it happen, because their next series rather, is against T1, and that one's gonna be rough. And I know that them against Nongshim, as we said, the height of cinema, that is gonna be probably the only series where they have a good shot, because then it's DK, and then the first round robin match of round robin 2 is Kwangdong. So for Breon, it would mean a lot if they're able to at least get an individual win here. The Taliyah being picked up for closer, I love. I think Taliyah and Zinzao is a really strong combo. I like Raptor going back to the Zin because it looked very solid on it.
And Karras going back to his old favorite.
Yeah, this top side, Atlas, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for me. Last time around, I really liked it. I think that, yeah, you have a really good front line. Maybe you can put Polo on something different. The Ashe actually making it through the draft this time around, but I don't think it has the oomph that OK Mambro are looking for.
No, and we remember last time Karras played Azir into Taliyah, and I would prefer not to remember it. Personally, it was not a whole lot of fun. I think Karras, you know, tried to make some plays, and I think he was more proactive, but it really wasn't it. And it is difficult to do, right? If the rocks are down in a good spot, then it definitely can be rough. And we do know that Closer is fantastic at Taliyah. I think that we've got a lot of brilliant mid laners when it comes to piloting this champion, and junglers. But I do think that Closer has really, he's unlocked his Taliyah in more recent weeks. So impressive stuff from him, even in losses. We'll see whether that he is going to be impressive once again, as bottom lane is where we're going to be focusing from now on, as we've locked in the top side of both of these teams. Zeri and the Ezreal.
You got to ban Ashe.
You ban the Ezreal away from Envy because he played it last game, and Zeri because it's his favorite champion, so that makes sense. Do they just ban it? Yes, they do.
Okay, I was getting a little worried for a second there. Kai'Sa would be quite strong with the composition that BNK have thus far. Knowing Duro, I also imagine that he wants to try and look for a counter pick on support here.
Yep.
Can also go for Leona instead.
Do you know what's going to happen?
Is very high prior at the moment.
Kalista, okay. That's just going to be the lock-in here from Henna. I'm really worried it's just going to be Xayah Rakan. Oh, God. No. No. Oh, no.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. No!
Oh, God, I knew it. I just felt like, because this is probably...
You could feel a disturbance.
Yeah, oh, man, it was Alderaan all over again, man. I mean, there couldn't be a worse Rakan angle outside of what we saw yesterday.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same angle. Word for word, bar for bar. There's a Nautilus, which you knew was coming. There's a Taliyah.
But the Leona. But the thing is, like, Leona could have been picked if they wanted to, but they realized that the Rakan was really not going to have a great time anyway, so they didn't even have to. Oh, God. Well,
everything that we're building up to now is giving me the feeling that somehow the Bros are going to win this game and we're going to look silly. I'm happy to look silly. I don't like this draft angle, Atlas. I I think that Lethality Kalista really has reshaped how the Xayah versus Kalista matchup goes. Because it used to be, you might get, not necessarily bullied in lane, but you have to play it safe. You know, you want to pry, you have to play back. But Lethality Kalista takes away the big angle that you used to have, which is that when you get to mid to late game, Kalista can't really walk in range because you have lethal tempo, you shred through her, lethal tempo's gone. The current form of Kalista actually has a good amount of range because she just sits there and throws Qs. And that's my face right now. That's how I'm feeling.
Oh, it's the OK Madge bro. That's what it looks like to me. And I think that if Bro manages to win with this draft, they could win the LCK.
Anything is possible.
Absolutely. Dreams are real, and you can make them reality. All you have to do is believe hard enough. And that could all happen if Bro managed to turn what this draft is into a victorious one. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's dive onto the riff for game number 2. All right, I got a theory. Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear my theory?
Of course I want to hear your... What part of us working together in the last 3.5 years makes you think I wouldn't want to hear your theory?
Whoa, there's a flash for Flash, if ever I've seen one. Duro is just... This guy activates Hex Flash out of the gate every game, and I love it. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, back to my theory. So, my theory is that the bros are such bros that they're aware that this is Huni's last day. And they've identified that Huni's favorite thing to do is to mold over bad drafts. And so what they've done is they've picked Rakan into Talia. They've picked Xayah Rakan in this moment right here to give Huni that moment.
I have one counterpoint to that. They could have done a better job because they banned Rumble, right?
They banned Rumble.
So they could have just first picked it and then went...
And then when
I don't know, like okay, hear me out.
Swifty dash cannon.
Yeah, I was gonna go. I was gonna go Merc's dash cannon, but you know, it's all the same.
Yeah, no, it's basically the same. As long as it's a dash cannon and not Sorks, then you're gonna make Huni pretty upset.
Never buy Leandris, you know.
Yeah, and for some reason it's Grasp Rumble as well, or something like that, something really cursed. Anyway, that would be a decent way to really send Huni off the right way, but. I don't know. If Bro managed to make this happen, I mean, I don't know. I might need to you know how we get to do a swap in our predictions? Maybe I'll be swapping them up, you know? Maybe that's what I don't,
Atlas, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I don't think you should.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the outcome of this game is going to lead to me changing my mind. Let's just go with that one.
Interesting, actually, is that Hannah did go for PTA, which... should be an indication that he is going to go for the on-it variety. I still think it's good. I just really like specifically into Xayah, the lethality form of it. And you also have a jungler with a good amount of damage as Youngjae trying to make an impact early here.
Yeah, there is a ward.
They should know that they're on the bot side of the map.
Immediately going to get spotted as Polu goes in. They do manage to get the Blade Caller as well. And like you say, Duro has no way out. Let's see whether he can get it. No, he cannot. Arctic Assault comes in. And that should mean that Envy's able to get that first blood. The Rend not really going to be doing enough here as Henna's completely out of mana now. Still going to be able to stick around in this lane, at least for the moment. So not the end of the world, but still first blood once again going over to Bro as Closer getting aggressive onto Karis once more.
Duro, his laning struggles continue, and realistically, you were very aware that Youngjae was going to be on the bot side of the map because they had a ward in his Raptor pit, and the camp was still up. So unless Youngjae was going to be flipping the game to try and gank Cassante, you know, with a Skarner for setup, wasn't already shot. Are we really going to have the run back? He's going to die and then just make his way over?
Well,
again?
Youngjae's going to get spotted. The Sentinel was in here. That means he's going to lose his Raptors. Raptor does generally take Raptors. That's sort of how it works. And then a Brambleback? Is that worth a kill under Duro, who doesn't look affected by dying in this series at all, even a little bit? In fact, it seems to only give him more power and media votes.
No, and I know this is a leading question, but I'm leading right into it, Atlas. No, I don't think it is. The kill on the Envy is quite big, and we'll see if they're able to leverage that. I just think it's so hard to try and play Xayah into a comp like this, because literally what happens in every single fight is that
Oh, you
Duro
missed
is
the cannon.
Oh, that's big. Duro is just gonna ult you, and then you have to immediately use your ult or you die because you're gonna get flipped back, or you're gonna get engaged on.
Oh, wait.
Youngjae, I don't...
Think about the amount of time this is wasting, though, as Raptor, he took half of Youngjae's jungle, and now Youngjae has to actually concede this Krug camp.
That's the saddest
It's almost,
second player.
is it double? It's almost double.
Yeah, so what happens is, as you're saying, wasting time is one thing, but he's actually aiming for, you know, Envy in the brush on that one.
Yeah, got it.
Definitely didn't just miss.
100%, 100%. That's a
It wastes so much time, and you don't get your back in, so your back is also going to be mildly delayed. As here, Duro, nicely done by Palu / mistake by Duro that he ends up hooking the Rakan as opposed to, you know, getting the hook off. And then Henna doesn't hit the slow, but Youngjae would have maybe flashed. You know, I don't really think that would have made a difference on the play.
Yep.
So nicely done there by Youngjae, but he does pay for it very heavily as we have look at that, a little jungle proximity here. Youngjae now gets his first back in. It's rough. Raptor is going to have a sizable experience lead. They might be able to leverage this into like a combination of Drake and Grubs very early on.
Yeah, we can see he's going to be able to take the Rift Scuttler here on the bottom side. You can see Youngjae is considering moving up to collect the Grubs himself, but they do get vision on where Raptor is. I think knowing that he is going over is, okay, Audacious Charge is not going to...
Oh, they're going to contest instead.
Find too much. Yeah, they're looking for it. And Duro obviously is in position for a fight. And he's the same level as Youngjae. Level 6 to level 4. It's unplayable. You can't be in the same place as Xin Zhao right now. And I'm really understanding these Xin Zhao voters from game number 1. Raptor is running the Rift here in game 2.
Life's tough. I also can't believe Duro does exactly the same thing twice, which is just die in lane, and then it's like, who cares?
Needed to back anyway, bro.
Walks into the enemy jungle level 2 to back up Raptor, and they're like, oh, gonna get ourselves some free objectives there. We see the Berserker Greaves do come out here for Henna as expected. We'll be going just the on-hit build, which will help with shredding down some of the beefier targets. We haven't seen this build nearly as much recently, and that's the free Grubs.
Oh.
Youngjae is still level 5.
Yeah, and Raptor is going to take his red buff now. There is vision all over this river, so Youngjae is going to be completely seen. Oh, and that means, so this is gone. The Gromp is about to spawn, and so that should also be gone. Yep. There's the frog. Pops out, says, Raptor, if you would like more of the enemy jungle, please come over and collect it. And here it is. Here's the Hail Mary. Let's see whether they can kill Duro again.
But realistic, like Duro should never, and he might because we've seen the game thus far, but he should never walk in. If you give up Drake,
look at
that's completely fine. And guess what?
Raptor has the same amount of farm as Clear.
He doesn't walk in, Atlas.
That's
doesn't. That's the, already we're seeing the development right in front of our very eyes. Game 1, Duro would have been like, guys, I'm just going to check to see if they're doing Dragon. But they're not. Oh, this is the worst feeling as a jungler. Oh, look at Jungjae's face. No!
Yeah.
No! Why did you have the player cam on?
And now look, like, it's a barren bottom side of his jungle as well. Where is his level 6 going to come from? Do they have to try and, like, flip for a dragon so that they can get a glacial prison? Is that what we're at?
Okay, the good thing for Breon...
All right, they should be able to get a Scuttler.
Is that they get Scuttle, and, you know, Sejuani, it's fine. You're going Zeke's. You'll be able to just tank up stuff anyway. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. You're going to be able to get this objective. But man, yeah, there we go. That's you know, it's going to be 2 full levels as these camps are taken, and they might not even get the dragon.
Yeah. So even and like he takes the Rift Scuttle, but now he's like just short. So still not actually able to do it. So Raptor camp is going to have to be taken here. Raptor, speaking of which, is going to come on over and share another one of these blue buffs. As Close are going to be standing around at least for a moment. Just waiting for his opportunity is Morgan.
Top lane is
get
still
a good
real.
crash.
Guys, it's here. They're farming grasp stacks.
Yes.
That's we want to make sure that you know.
They are doing hitting against each other, and they are continuing to do that until maybe they can play the video game later on.
Okay, Atlas, hear me out. So, Breon are even.
Uh-huh.
They have a really well scaling teamfight composition.
Uh-huh.
Their front to back is insane.
Uh-huh.
They just need to not lose the game before the point where their items are online.
Okay.
So realistically, they're actually in a great spot if you think about it. Just a little bit, not too much.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
just the right
trying not
amount.
to, because the thing that I'm really worried about is something that has been plaguing a lot of the LCK, actually, and that is engaging onto Xin Zhao. Teams love it. They love to do it. And if they engage onto this one's really, really strong.
The funniest part to me is that Youngjae actually still finishes his first item before Raptor does.
Because he's been actually visiting Boris.
Well, not only that, but also, obviously, he's building support items.
Yeah, true.
They're just cheap.
Well, he doesn't think that his completed item is going to help him in battle against Raptor.
No, he won't. He'll lose.
And Youngjae is at least going to be able to take this one. Polu.
Yeah,
he can keep himself alive. Should be fine.
I like this for Raptor. You can obviously try and bully, but they should look to, there you go, Sunlit Sky now done. They should look to get a good back in here and just start the dragon. I do really think that with the pressure you already have, you can set it up. They don't care about dragon. That's really interesting, actually. That's something they also did in the previous game. Because instead, Raptor just based and is now running towards the grub. So they're just going to play 4-6 grubs, most likely.
I kind of like it. I like the idea of being able to do a little bit more work in side lanes. Gives good old Cassante a little bit more threat as well, because one of the things that he has always struggled with is doing any damage to a turret ever. And so it should help out there. So it's going to be 4 grubs and probably 6, because there is just no one from Bro in this area whatsoever.
Shouldn't. Yeah, just let Raptor do his thing. If he's there, let's go to the other. I would like for them to take Dragon, though, because they've definitely...
Yep, they're pinging it.
There we go. There's been opportunities. Kariz might not even have to use his TP to get back to lane here. Closure will be able to get pressure, and oh, maybe Kariz should have TP there, because the fact that he doesn't means that Closer's going to be able to rotate over to this with his ultimate.
Yeah.
I definitely know this is happening. Oh, I don't know about this one. I think they have to peel off. I think they have to leave.
This is so rough. Battle Dance can get Polu over there, or the Grand Entrance, of course, has opportunities, but Duro's going to dive in. There's a seismic shove. They do manage to get the Drake. There's now Henna. He's had to get out of there. Envy's now finally moving on over. Grand Entrance is going to hold them in place as Karis gets the Emperor's Divide onto Closer. He's going to go down. That is first blood for the Bros, as the Fate's Call is going to pick Duro up and get him out of there. Oh, man. Okay, nicely done here. As Raptor back to farming once again. But yes, he's got that huge farm lead, but wasn't actually worth anything in that last fight.
Oh, first blood in that fight. Ends up being the only one that we get, unfortunately, for Brion.
Was that first blood, though? Who else died?
No.
Duro died early.
They had the Duro early death.
Yeah, so never mind. So it wasn't first blood.
Well, it wasn't that
This
fight.
felt like first blood.
It was in that fight.
Oh, was it? Okay, so he just died earlier on. So it was first blood. Okay, we're good.
No, it was first blood in that specific fight. Like,
Yeah,
not in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
First blood of the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it was second blood.
Yeah.
This is like the Rambo titles. They don't really make a whole lot of sense. The big thing here is that Envy just hard wins the 1v1 against Henna off screen, which means that it's a kind of an awkward position there. Duro, him going in, I think, was fine. The problem is that Closer was also in the pit, and that Raptor was obviously on his way, but not quite there yet. And BNK, you are really strong, specifically when the extremely fed Xin Zhao is there.
Yeah,
But
the
he
Xin Zhao
wasn't.
guy is important.
He wasn't. He wasn't there. And you do need him.
Well, Morgan, he doesn't need anyone, because he's a top laner. And he's fighting with Clear here, who's actually not having the greatest of times. We've seen this matchup go many, many ways. Right now it is, you know, like not even really a wave in it, so not really too much to be worried about. As Henna has lost 2 plates already here on this bottom side. And so I guess the Zyrakan situation is working out thus far, even if it doesn't really make me feel fantastic. Raptor is taking a look towards Morgan here on this top side, not really finding a way in. So if Raptor is just going to happy feet from now, right, gets that advantage and then isn't able to translate it, that's where Bro might be able to find themselves some angles. Because like you say, they definitely scale beautifully. Doesn't feel like they have the onus on them to make those proactive plays, but they have already been able to take that first Drake. And See whether they can continue.
Oh, they're looking for a fight here.
Yep, Karis is just going to find it. That's going to be the blast going to allow Henna to at least try to buffer, but it does not work. And that is a beautiful catch. And Karis, his Azir, it's starting to really feel like that old one, you know, that he was real good at. Haven't seen it in a while, but so far it's been back-to-back great ultis.
Coming up huge there. Finding the catch on Hannah, even with the blast cone, not able to stay alive. Maybe even need to invest his flash there. That's going to be the Herald also going over to Breon.
Oh.
We are seeing a 14-minute gold acceleration for Bro.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Is it happening?
Oh, that ward ends up being so big because as Hannah, you feel really safe because you're in the brush. But the reality is you're not even a little bit safe. You're just on vision. And Azir, obviously, really easy way to get around the area there. Youngjae also great follow-up.
Yeah.
They get the Herald. Early Drake. Things are looking up. The one thing is, do not be deceived by the fact that right now we are looking at a lead for Breon. They need to keep their wits about them. It was a lot of mid-game plays, and look at this. Raptor, yeah, he has a CS lead, but Youngjae, between the kills and the experience he's been able to soak still, now within touching distance.
He's doing absolutely fine now. Catch-up mechanics working out. As Morgan vacates, just wanders over the wall. We've seen this before, but this time, I think he's going to be all right. Just farming behind the turret. Raptors move. Wait, hang on. Hang on, is this game one? Game two. Game one? Game two. Game one?
Are they different?
Game two. It's game two. There's the all-out. As Morgan, I mean, he didn't have minions there, so the turret helps out, and he just dies. Why would we do it again? That's my big question. They do manage to take down the outer turret.
He's creating space.
Zoning. And
he's creating space, yeah.
He did create a lot of space for them to take 2 outer turrets, so maybe it's actually just fine, just worth it. Just exactly the same play as the first game.
Especially, yeah, so that makes sense.
That's a lot of rocks.
No, I'm looking at I'm talking about the damage graph.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a lot of rocks that Morgan has thrown at the Cassante.
I'm looking at the bottom part of the damage chart.
Oh, right, the highlighted bit. That's a bit sad.
But
it doesn't say damage to monsters.
Yeah, but Atlas...
Oh, that was very close.
He's going to flash ult. Dora would, but not the best angle there. So
And
I think
it's
good
a Cloud Soul? Is this how Bro gets back into the game?
It's all turning up Breon, Atlas.
It really is. That means that we are due a turn in the other direction, are we not? That would be on script.
Would make sense. I gotta say, though, it doesn't matter how much gold you have if you don't use it. You know, this is applicable in life as well.
Yeah?
If you got...
Money in the bank ain't doing nothing.
No, you gotta... you know, first of all and foremost, right, this is not financial advice. This is just us talking about gold in League of Legends, but you gotta use it. You can't just... first, you gotta spend it in terms of items, but then you also gotta use the items. And there's been a bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah. A really nice car sitting in the garage doesn't really do that much. It's a really good point. It's all right, Morgan. He's continuing to throw things around, trying to hold on to this turret as best he can.
Is that where
They're
we're
just
at?
bullying the Skarner. That's what the attempt is, as Raptor is going to up that damage to champions by one audacious charge. He is definitely dying. Turret probably going to go down first here. That is going to be secured, and then Morgan is going to press the Impale button and just try and waste their time a little bit here. As you can see, the ping's out from Bro, trying to get something elsewhere on the map. And that is going to be a turret falling down in exchange as well. They do get the extra kill, so in the isolated play, still a trade up for B&K. But Bro still able to cross-map pretty effectively.
I really wish Hannah had gone for Lethality Kalista. I think there's a reason why Kalista really fell out of favor with this build. Because, as we saw there in the damage as well, he hadn't really been able to do a whole lot of damage. And like now you have a Kalista who's half an item behind, a Xayah with Infinity Edge and Flicker Blades. Like, and Xayah's only going to keep getting better. Right?
Yeah.
And I still think Envy's going to have a tough time actually playing out fights. But same for Hannah, honestly, as I know we're getting a replay of that. This is just, look at the mini-map while this is happening. There's no way that Morgan ever lives. Do note that they do in fact have the TP available, but I actually think it's the right call not to use it. Just let that sit. Keep it on Karis. Morgan going down doesn't really change anything in the grand scheme of things. They're still able to get the top shove in, take down the turret. And it's nice for Closer. He's able to pick up a little bit of gold. Should be able to get his Leandries sometime soon. And I still do think the gold is within touching distance. And that Brion, if they can just front to back and not get caught off guard. And most crucially, I don't want to see Polu going over aggressive and get stuck on some Talia rocks. And I don't want them engaging on Raptor. Because if they engage on Raptor and he splits the fight and it's like a 2v2, a 3v3, Brion isn't winning.
No. But right now, they are winning. So that's certainly good. Can they keep it up? I'm so worried. Like, I feel like in this game state, there will be so many different ways to talk about how this map is going to go, right? But it's all based on who's piloting all of these champions, why these champions were picked in these moments, right? And I think it's purely unique that Bro have been able to hold on to this, and I'm not as upset anymore about the fact that the Rakan and Xayah were picked, because for Bro, I guess maybe it'll just work. I don't know. They're just vibing with these champs at this point in time as Raptor is going to get engaged on. Polo's going to be thrown around like a ragdoll. Wind doesn't really become lightning, actually, as Raptor misses it. And Bro, they're out of there. They're going to go back in, though. There's the Impale. It connects as Clear dives in, finds 3 with the Q. But the Featherstorm comes in. There's the All-Out. And Envy has nothing left against this Cassante except a whole bunch of friends. Another Q on everyone as Envy flashes away, and it's not enough. Oh, the Cassante. Never you mind. Still, Bro are going to be able to win the fight because they only lose Envy.
2 for 1. It's a win for Brion and BNK. Why are we hard committing to a fight if Closer is just sitting in top clearing the wave and the STP, but you're clearly not intending on using it? I'm pretty sure there were some outs there where you can just be like, okay, Duro, we're going to throw you back in. You're going to die. We're going to leave, and then you'll be alive, and then we'll just fight for Dragon.
But then how could they have killed Envy?
Yeah. I'm looking at this, and I really wonder who this benefits more, because there are a lot of sums used in that fight, and Envy won't have his ult. I think for Brion, it's a big risk to take this fight, actually. I think that Duro will have his up soon. There will be a large window where Envy isn't actually able to keep himself safe, and I think that BNK's composition is still quite lethal. They do need Closer, though, who is currently still looking at huge wave on bot. Someone's going to have to answer that.
Yeah, it is moving down right now. Closer going to help out with the damage as Young Jay just walks in. That is going to be the Drake secured. There's the hook onto Morgan, but he finds 2 with the Impale. Clear once again just wanders into the backline. This time Envy, it's going to be very difficult to Featherstorm, and he will be taken down. Fear X, they're going to find it as Young Jay and Morgan running for the hills. It's only the tanks remaining, and Closer is looking to catch up. Will the seismic shove land? That's the question, as Morgan seems to be their target, or maybe they haven't really decided on a target. As Rock's being thrown around, we don't find the shove, and that is going to be BNK finding themselves a little bit closer to being back into the game.
Relatively even trade as we go back to this moment. Do see Raptor. Yes, he is. Zin's out, still feels forced to flash because Envy was moving close. That ult from Duro, maybe not the best target. And then this is the moment where it looks like everything is in dire straits for BNK. And then Clear actually comes up huge, finds a multi-man knock-up or a stun with his W, then into the knock-up, isolates, and that's why this fight ends up going the way that it does. Like, damage reduction there, finds another Q. I can't believe that he's able to flash auto even after the Rakan W comes in. Kind of insane errors. Here we have the combination, actually very nicely done there by BNK to secure that. And then even without Envy in the fight, a lot of damage is done there by Karis specifically to ensure that the front line, or the back line rather, of BNK, namely Henna, just ends up going down immediately, and then Closer doesn't really get to join the fight. I'd still say that's worth it for BNK that they deny the soul point, and even trades, I think, are okay. The main issue that I do have is that that was a fight where there was no ult on Envy, and where I think in general Brion was down a lot of cooldowns. The fights are going to get harder to play out by a large margin, and I think, bro, this might be the angle, Atlas.
That's not.
awesome.
Yeah, that's Polo getting thrown around like a ragdoll. He will be taken out. As,
now.
in goes Duro, as Envy is going to send him out once again. Duro realizing that he only has Hex Flash. Not really going to be able to do too much here, but Closer is trying to save him. Seismic Shove doesn't hit the mark as Karis does. Raptor going to get thrown back as Envy throwing his feathers towards this Crescent Guard, and Raptor one more and he's dead, and there it is. That's Karis locking down the double, and these Sand Soldiers are relentless right now. And Henner and Closer, they do back away in the end.
Oh, a couple of big mistakes there individually. As no jungle available, Closer does have his TP.
Dove?
Actually, yeah, Does has it. Oh my God.
Dove has a teleport.
He's not
Somewhere.
TPing. I was going for Old English there, obviously.
Yeah, no, I like it. He doth TP.
Polu going in here, a bit tragic. This game is getting to me, Atlas, I'm not gonna lie. Just doesn't hit anything. And then here, Duro looks like he's fine and walks back in, which means that he's almost out. Then Closer goes in. They don't actually get the flick back.
And Karis just uses the wall to be artillery.
Yeah, I also think Raptor maybe shouldn't have gone in there. There is one player that can go that deep and not get punished, and that's Clear, who is 1v1ing a Scorpion.
Yeah.
So it's messy, Atlas. It's shenanigans, and it's Breon who are looking good, but Clear on an angle.
A big old angle. Wait, never mind. He's just walking back to his team.
The angle is straight back to the rest.
Yep.
No flank. But Breon are pulling further ahead. This Rebel Baron power play, nothing crazy just yet.
All right, Envy, they're going to catch him once again. The hook is going to land, and goodbye, Zaya. Let's see whether they can get more off the back end, though, because it's been a few wins in these fights, but never enough to actually turn it like they were able to achieve in game number 1. But it's another great pick on the Envy.
That was Hannah. Further proving that,
okay, Clear does manage to find the Q. Just whether or not that's a good idea, I don't know.
I'd say trade flash for flash might be worth.
Yeah, Hook is going to connect once again. Seismic Shove is going to get a flash out of Young Jay as well. Oh no, Bro crumbling. That's the question as Karis finds the Conquering Sands and Henna loses 50% of his health. This Azir is just massive. I mean, look at him, 3-1 and 6, 3 items complete.
Yeah, it doesn't even have death cap yet. Carva's really making a statement here in this game. Well, this is Breon trying to get the most out of their Nash. Should be able to get at least this inner. The gold lead, it's big. This is gonna most likely be Soap one as well. Doesn't look like BNK is contesting with a TP towards top side.
Yep.
Banshee's now done. And Breon Atlas, surely from this position, with the front to back that they have, with the soul point.
Unlosable, right?
Oh, okay, I wasn't going to go that far because that would be mean. That would be very rude.
No, it's not KT. It's fine. We're
safe.
safe. We're absolutely safe. Are we? Absolutely. Totally safe. As Duro moving up alongside Clear, there is the Drake secured, so that's soul point for Bro. Just one more step in their inevitable victory here in game number 2. And they're going to group up yet another minion wave. 19 seconds to go. That is going to be an inner turret falling down. Closer sort of just leaving, trying to grab himself what he can in these side lanes. Has been doing a decent job. You can see the farm really does indicate that, but hasn't been able to help defend. As okay, BNK, do you have another fight in you? That's the question. I think Morgan is looking for Closer. Seismic Shove doesn't really land there as he does have to flash the Impale. And that's a high-value flash that Bro are going to get just from Closer pushing up a little bit too far.
Funnily, Closer doesn't have the vision, but he probably was fine even if he does get impaled there, as long as he's able to hit a flick back at some point, because there was no one in the general vicinity. I say that, I do know Skarner's damage is a little bit ridiculous, so maybe he would have died nonetheless. And I think flashing there is always the correct call, because you don't have perfect information, and if you end up dying, that might lead to a lot more. This play, though...
Yeah, we're going to see it from Envy's perspective. How many times does he have an opportunity to do anything? No, none at all.
That was really well done, though. The CC chain by Duro and Closer there was clear.
All right, let's see whether he can find the angle. Karis is their target. He does go golden. But is he out of the woods? That's the question. Finds a couple with the Emperor's Divide. The Featherstorm goes down. Karis is eventually taken as Duro gets the stunts on Envy, and Henna pops him like a balloon. Raptor's out of the fight, though, and Closer I don't think he's going to be able to go 1v3. So the two damage dealers, I say with air quotes, were taken down, but Morgan is at full health, and he hits like a train.
It's only beefy frontline, but without closer, like Hannah is a Kalista on 2 items.
Yeah.
He's not killing anyone, Atlas.
Well, apart from Envy in that last fight.
True.
But
Did get it.
no,
Oh,
no
he's
more
squishy.
after that.
He's not a frontliner. Love the flick back from closer here. But the problem is that they try to go in with more people on a target that was already dead, and then he still ends up getting value out of the ultimate. So that means that you split the fight. On one end, closer, yeah, amongst all these beefy boys, not going to be doing all that. As you pointed out, that hook from Duro actually pivotal.
Oh,
Envy just has not been able to pull out any damage in these fights, which is the main reason why I think they're still looking relatively close. If at any point he's able to get one, it would be huge. And I gotta say, closer, this Banshees, it feels good into the amount of, you know, the shuffles and Youngjae's ultimate, but you are gonna be, you have no magic pen.
There's not a lot of damage going on.
It's actually a big problem because he's going to go Death Cap next, which obviously is good, but not going Void until your last item means that Morgan is already pretty much unkillable, and that's not really going to change because there is Hannah who doesn't have LDR yet, and even then is going to need an unreasonable amount of autos. So realistically, it's probably like Raptor because he has Cleaver.
Yeah.
It's not great. And for the bros, Baron is up.
Is it a
really hard for
Youngjae
BNK to move
POG
in.
angle?
I think it might still be Karis, even though, you know, he had the oopsie in the top fight.
I kind of like in a bro series, giving it to the one whose mental was challenged the most and didn't break.
Not a bad take,
Youngjae.
Atlas.
That's Youngjae in this game. He's now got the Baron down to half health as Morgan going to get over that wall, looking for a target here. Duro is going to be that target, but a Fate's Call is going to be available. And now they're looking for the turn. Of course, Duro's going in. He flashes out immediately. So he isn't going to die, but just offers them up a cooldown on a silver platter. And we have a stalemate, as no one used the teleport outside of Morgan, actually, to get him over here earlier on.
Soul Point again available for Breon. If they pick up this Cloud Dragon, they will have that. Rakan with Cloud Soul?
Yeah, it's pretty absurd.
Skarner?
As Hannah is just going to dive on top of Polo here. That's a fair bit of damage. With that Rend, is now Raptor looking for the angle. Wind becomes Lightning, but onto Youngjae. Not exactly an ideal target.
Oh, with that back. I wonder if Hannah's LDR. That would be a big spike. Not enough by itself,
Oh,
but
he does.
still gonna be a difference maker. Unending Despair also done for Morgan. He's level 18. Maybe it's just a Morgan angle, Atlas.
That could be the way. I think it's never wrong to vote for the Lord, unless they lose the game. Okay, there is Raptor going in onto Youngjae, but he doesn't take damage. Hook is going to miss. Probably a good thing for Duro. At that point, as now Morgan gets the crash into the wall. That could be the ideal target. As Closer is flashing out of the way now, and now Polo is just gonna pop. Henna's able to lock him down. Raptor still well and truly in it as Clear is fighting 5 people. Envy flashes over the wall and
He's still alive!
Gets on top. Envy will be taken down. And who remains in this fight? It's only the Beefy Boys and Hannah. And Hannah might be able to do it this time. There goes Morgan. The Lord has been felled. And it is only Youngjae who is able to protect his KDA in this moment, who is going to be up to hear the cries of the dragon as it falls.
Because of Youngjae still being alive, BNK don't want to run the risk of trying to take the Baron, but don't be mistaken, this is a colossal win. Crucially, they waste so much in trying to kill Closer, who's fine. The damage dealers are in there, and Duro gets a good ultimate off, and then it gets messy. Closer gets on top of Envy, has to pay with his life, but still does enough damage, and Hannah is just unchecked throughout this entire fight. And crucially, with them going so deep and not actually killing Closer, oh, they're gonna get this as well. Oh, Atlas.
Oh, God.
Atlas?
Oh, God.
Atlas, you leaned into this.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Who's surprised?
Yeah, I don't. They're still ahead in gold, technically. You know, that's something.
And I mean, they do still, like, you're probably looking at Envy's scoreline, you're like 2-5 and 8. Like, they've had to use so much in order to get those 5 deaths. But if it keeps happening like this, and B&K, especially after they mow down all of the money, there are bounties available. If this Baron is going to be used to any sort of effect, they will be able to turn around that gold in an instant. They have to get towards some turret zone. As we can see, I mean, it's the same graph, but elongated. Instead of 15 minutes, it's 35 minutes.
Okay, I think we're stretching. We're stretching the analogy here.
All right, Hook going to come on through once again. Polu going to be put in a blender, but there is the knockbacks. They're trying to chain the CC, but Clear is the one now taking too much damage. Has to go all out onto Youngjae and gets himself out of there as the Impale is decent. Seismic Shove is also good though as Envy goes down so incredibly low, but he will survive for so long. Raptor puts him down in the end, and Henna is still up and available. Closer is still up as well. But they're the team with the Baron, and it's B&K that wants to just be sieging turrets, not going even in fights.
It's a brawl, Atlas.
A brawl.
A brawl. I don't know what's happening. I don't know who's winning, but we are fighting to the death in every single fight. No objective taken, no decisive lead gained. We are flipping for another objective. It is in fact happening somewhere down the line. I don't think B&K are going to get anything. So they start off with a combo. Could have also ulted Polu there. Maybe that would have been enough, but within the knockup he finds the ability to then flash over the wall. And then here the Impale actually ends up being huge, because it allows Envy to do something. But then I think that hook from Duro there, finding Envy again in the fight just after his ultimate means that the biggest damage here is going. Envy needs to live. Okay, this Xayah needs to do damage for Brion to win a team fight. Just Karis is not enough. Like, who's going to kill Cassante if... That's a 4-item Xayah.
Yeah. None of those items are like Guardian Angel or like somewhat defensive stuff. He does have a Bloodthirster, that's good. So if he does survive through all the chain CC, then he can at least get his health back, but it's getting a bit dangerous as Youngjae, he's going to get hooked back. He's the one that's going to get chain CC to death. And now it's Morgan thrown around like a ragdoll as well. These seismic shoves from Closer, just too good. Oh, bro, why does it always have to happen like this?
Gold lead now there.
That was Youngjae's first death of this whole game.
Oh, yeah.
100% kill participation.
Yeah, no, we are not. This has happened so many times where one player is like, guys, we got to keep it together, and then he does so well.
Yeah.
There's one mistake, I was like, well, there goes the House of Cards.
And when it's that player that makes the mistake and steps up that little bit too far, and the engage is there, but I have to say, B&K have looked like a well-oiled machine in these fights, man. Like, look at this. Everyone pulling the triggers at exactly the right times.
I don't know if it is because of this game basically being a challenger's game, but Clear is showing a form of Cassante that we haven't seen in a while. I think we were all collectively pretty excited when he came in. Hasn't really shown that, but to me, he's one of the main reasons these fights have been going the way that they have. You know, maybe seeing Duro again is like the challenger gene is activated. It was slumbering, waiting, or it's because this game is just all over the place, Atlas.
I mean, there is a lot of challenger in this game. I mean, let's be honest. As far as, you know, just the players and the play. As, bro, they have stepped up once again. There is a Glacial Prison. Duro going to ignore it completely. Raptor as well, now going to go in. Wind becomes lightning. There's the knockbacks. As Emperor's Divide comes down, Karis is like almost dead already, but now Henna has got on top of Envy, just gets to press the rend button. And wasn't this a late game team fighting comp, bro? Wasn't it? Because B&K are making theirs look like it's perfect for 38.5 minutes, and they're just gonna truck it down the mid lane.
Henna gets on top of Envy. Duro with the ult sets him up. Henna knocks him down. And it's the hesitation for Brion. It's the inability to win these front to backs. And B&K are gonna get the 2-0.
Oh man, it's heartbreaking for the bros, but what a debut from Duro. We do have to say, this guy was not afraid in any moment whatsoever. They replaced Execute with this guy. It's just a different version of crazy, and I absolutely love it. B&K Fearex They managed to steal a couple of victories after Bro had back-to-back good early games, just unable to close it out in the end. Hopefully they can use this to progress towards some victories closer to, you know, the killing the Nexus part. And when they figure that out, they'll be unstoppable.
Bro Nongshim is looming.
Oh,
Atlas.
baby.
It is in
Who's going to be
future.
casting that one?
It's you
in
and
a
me.
couple of weeks.
It's you and me.
Are you ready?
No, I don't think anyone is. BNK, this is what I want to see of this team. Yes, it might be messy, but this is effectively what we have seen and wanted to see out of Sandbox in 2018, Live Sandbox in 2022, and now BNK FearX. It's just this. Does it always make sense? No, but I just want him to play like this no matter what. Just go in, make it happen. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. But it's something that I think was missing from this team for the entirety of this year. For Spring, we just never really got those vibes. And here in this game, they're back as, okay.
All right,
okay, Duro. Calm down. It's Breon.
I mean, if there's ever a way that you can, like, claim your spot on the roster, I mean, that's a pretty good way to do it. I think, like, there's a whole lot of new Duro fans. And he already had quite a few of them in Challenger as well, if you were to have a look at the Challenger crowds. Last year when Humble Life Esports were playing, or now when BNK was playing in the spring season. This team is just fun. They're just fun. I feel like we are getting, you know, we're hearkening back to that Live Sandbox that you fell in love with, you know, all those times ago.
Kyle.
With your boy Croco, with Kyle there as well. Yeah.
They're doing really well, actually, in
So
it is
a happy story, but we need that happy story to come back again, and I think this is the beginning of it here for BNK as they use the late game Kalista. Where, I mean, Henna was basically useless in the early game, but then found some great fights at the very end, and that's not where I'm used to Kalista finding value.
It's really an Uno Reverso of what is happening. Henna also, that was him, right? Yeah, Duro goes in, but it's Henna that sets up the flash play. It's Henna that's able to, together with Duro, find Envy, and unfortunately for Breon, that to me was the main... If they're able, and this is partially on Envy, partially on the rest of the team, if they were more able to get anything going around this Xayah, I think they could have won the game. Right there, like Kara's ulting when the only one there is a Cassandra that literally ignores it with W. Envy just being in the Raptor pit and just getting blown up. It's just not enough. Breon need to reconsider how they take these team fights. And that Xayah, the Xayah that gets the early kills and then it just fizzles out in the front to back.
And that's not how it's supposed to work either. And also a lot of the issues that we were talking about with, you know, trying to play Rakan around the rocks, I don't think that that was ever really much of a problem. I think it was just that when they got down to it, it was BNK that was able to hold on to their mental throughout the entire game, even though they did fall behind, and then found beautiful coordination in these last team fights. As I think that they have a feeling that they did kind of steal this one away from Bro, and that's, I'm having a look at Close's cheeky grin, and that's giving us a bit of information there. Look at, and clear as well. That's a smug smile on the face of a top laner that just hit Ascana for a long time and then carried back-to-back team fights.
Oh, BNK.
That's some score.
FearX. Yeah. Also, can we talk about the Raptor Renaissance? The man had like 800 damage and ended up doing like 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to wait for that late game Xin angle.
Yeah, the late game Xin and the late game Kalista end up pulling through against the triple frontline Azir and Xayah. That's what an angle.
Yep.
What an angle.
It's BNK versus Bro. It's what we come to expect, and what else could be better on Huni's last day before he goes off to military service. And speaking of which, let's throw it over to the space and they can break down whatever we just witnessed.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Raptor and Clear on the side of BNK FearX, who just defeated OK Savings Bank Breon to put an end to their losing streak. Congratulations! Thank
네,
you.
랩터 선수 연패를 끊어내고 간절했던 1승을
Raptor, you successfully broke the losing streak today. How do you feel?
최대한 실수 안 한다는 마음가짐으로 와서
I came here with the mindset of making no mistakes, but I ended up making some mistakes. I messed up, and I feel like my teammates did so well just keeping their mental fortitude until the very end. So I'm very glad.
클리어 선수의 첫
And
POG였습니다.
Clear,
플레이오프를
this is
바라보고
your
있는
first
만큼
POG.
오늘은 절대로 내줘서는
And
안
with the
되는
playoffs as
경기였는데
your
롤
goal,
파트에 어떤
it was such a
마음가짐으로
crucial
오셨는지
game
궁금합니다.
to win. And it was so crucial to win today's match. So what mindset did you come to Lowell Park with?
오늘 경기까지 지면 진짜 죽지
Like up
않은
until today,
정말 열심히 했던 것 같습니다.
we came here
그래서 좋은 모습
as if our
보여주셨던 것
life was
같은데요.
on the
랩터
line
선수
if we
오늘의
lost.
BNK
And I
서포터
think
선수로
that's what
선수가
really paid
출전했습니다.
off
선수
today.
교체에 맞춰서
And today we saw
감독분들이
Duro stepping in as
있을까요?
BNK's support. And with the swap, did the coaching staff give you guys any specific orders? No specific orders. I think it was just really to change up some pace in the team. And I believe that it definitely did have a difference in our the team atmosphere overall. And Clear, was Duro nervous at all for his LCK debut? I don't think he was actually nervous at all. I think rather the rest of the team was pretty nervous. I think up until going into the game he was fine, but when we went into the game it looked like he had some jitters. And in games 1 and 2, you had some amazing plays with Xin Zhao, especially in game 1 with your ult usage and aggression. How high is your confidence on Xin Zhao? I'm very confident. I think in Xin Zhao, when you play Xin Zhao, as long as you can use your ult well, it feels like you have so much influence in the team fight. So I would say that I'm pretty comfortable with Xin Zhao. And in game 2, level 6 Xin Zhao at 6 minutes. How did you come up with this pathing? So the enemy jungler actually went bot first, but he didn't actually clear his jungle camps, and I was able to get some experience and then snowball off of that. And in both games 1 and 2, the enemy blind picked Skarner from the blue side, and you countered it with Cassante Clear. So how do you rate Cassante as a counter to Skarner? I feel like it's just a very skills matchup, 50-50 even kind of lane. So I think that's why you see it pretty frequently. And Clear, your positioning with Cassante was so clean. What did you talk about as a team?
그런 적극적인 모습이 있으셨군요.
I think we were just trying to be all proactive, and we were calming really well between our teammates, so we were able to pull off winning the team fights in the end. And let's take a look at the next replay where you won some team fights in the mid to late game. Can you walk us through what happened here?
그때 뭐 싸움을 계속 하자곤 했는데
I think we really wanted to open up a team fight here, but it was a little iffy to open it up right then and there. But we were trying to sort of pick off of the enemy's mistakes, and we were able to pick one by one. So it looks like I was trying to go for either the Xayah or Azir, and that was my target. And now you guys will be on a week of vacation before facing off KT. What is your resolution? I want to make sure that we minimize our mistakes, and we'll put in our best to prepare for the next match. And Clear, KT is on a really good momentum, so I want to make sure that we take our week off to be prepared for the next match against KT. And would you like to give a shout out to your fans? Thank you so much for coming here to give us all the support, and I'll make sure that we put in our best to win the next match. And Clear, what about you? It was rough today, but I'm sure that it was just as rough for you guys to watch. But I'm so glad that we were able to win, and I'm glad that we were able to repay your support with today's win. And that's the end of the interview from Raptor and Clear of BNK Furex, and back to the space. Thank you.